All right, we'll go ahead and try this just as a quick run through of the features of WLV. This is for the newest version 120. I'm just going to start right here in the inventory screen, and you can see should be representative of what you get in the box. You'll see a lot of macros. We'll go through what they're all for. I saying macros, I mean gestures. And if you open them, you'll see it's just a standard gesture. These are just two shortcuts for some of the features that are built in, some of the animations that come with. And you can activate the gestures if you wish to use them. But the main thing that you'll want to do, you've got regular instructions and wrestler instructions. We'll cover both in this video. The 5 to 10 bar is used for wrestling. I'll explain that when we get to that. But for now, you're just going to start by putting on the regular assist. Just add it. And it will go through a couple of colors. When it's white, it's reading the settings card, and when it goes green, it's ready to go. So let me go ahead and close that. And basically, I'm just going to sort of run through the features in the order that they are in the instruction card and give like a quick example. For details, you should just read the instructions card and work through it. If you have questions, you can contact Celia Dion. You can see her name on the screen there, and I'll do my best to answer for you. Let's go ahead and dive on in. I'm just opening it on my other window. So what is WLV? WLV is a multi-tool for wrestling in Second Life. Originally the purpose was just to provide what I call overlay animations. So when you use your normal Wrestle HUD, of course the moves replace whatever animation you are doing. With WLV, you can overlay additional animations on top of that. One of the first users of it used it to great benefit to it's going to sound silly, but to give the middle finger to her opponents because she could play that on top of whatever other animation was playing. But yeah, but that's what it was originally for. It also incorporates interface with RLV, which is Restrained Love Viewer, if I remember correctly. But the net benefit of that is it allows automatic motion such as turns. And in version 120, it can do automatic actual movement as well. It can displace your avatar, which is sometimes helpful. So let's dive right in with I'm going to go ahead and just open it up first. If we just hit edit and go to the contents tab. So this is what you should see in here. I have a promo script. You probably will not. We'll cover promos briefly. But you will have settings, and you will have all of these scripts. Now it looks like a lot, but the thing to note is only inventory and speed is running. The rest of these are actually set to not active. The 10 scripts, when I cover wrestlers, I'll explain why there's 10 of them in here. But there's actually only this one script running in the root and one additional script running in the other half. But the two things you'd be interested in when you come in here are the promo card and settings. If you open settings, this is Celia's settings card. It's very short and it only contains the lines that I need because the fewer lines you have in the settings card, the faster it will load. Included with your box will also be a complete settings card that has every possible option and a few more notes about what they mean. So you can like pick and choose the ones that you actually want to use and drop them into your real settings card. Or drop the whole thing in, just delete the lines you don't want. So in this case, just to explain that promo really quick, and I'll get into further detail later, promo card line, and I just referenced the name of it. It also has an AO, so walk and run can be overridden with any animation that you like. The advantage of this one is that it treats it as a replacement, so it's not a scripted AO, so there's no delay and it doesn't interfere with your Wrestle HUD if your priorities are correct. Again, we'll get to that. I'm jumping the gun. Let's go right into the instructions card. The first option in the instructions card is actually RLV Turns. So what are RLV Turns? So this system comes with a few built-in turns for 90 degrees and 180 degrees. And if you look at the gestures that you're provided, let me go ahead and just activate them. I'm just going to activate them all. There we go. So you'll see right 90, left 180. So what it is I've got those bound to some hotkeys. And when I basically what that means is I can just push a single key and spin 90 degrees in either direction, or I can press a single key and spin 180. Now you see it's not completely perfect. RLV doesn't line up exactly correctly every single time. That's just a limitation. Now, what good is this? You may or may not, if you've heard of RLV, you've probably heard of it being used to make rope chutes easier, because that's the main thing people have used it for. And what I've provided is a sample rope chute gesture that incorporates the turn. And you can see it right here. There's the turn, brief delay to make the animation line up, and then the standard rope chute command and sound effect. I'll show you the animations in a little bit. Right now, I just want to demonstrate that the turns are there, and if you look at any of these turn dedicated ones, you'll see it's just a single command. And you can incorporate that into any gesture that you're building. So if you need a turn as part of your gesture, you can literally just put it in there. Precise turns are now possible as well. I didn't have an example one ready to go, but let me go ahead and just create one. I'll just copy the ref 90, and we'll open that, and we'll change it to a 45. So from L90 to L45, I'll leave it on Q just for now. And what we do is we're just going to come in here after the channel, and we're going to change it to rotate and 45. Let's see here, positive for right and negative for left, so minus 45. We'll activate that. I suppose I could just test it. It'd be faster than pushing a key. So preview. So you can see if I hit, let me turn the hotkey off so it doesn't interfere. Save. Okay, so if I hit Q, we go a full 90 degrees. But if I hit this one, only half as far. And any angle is possible. Doesn't have to be a compass coordinate. So again, the intent of that, you can put that into your gestures, and if you need a turn in your gesture, you can go ahead and just have it automatically happen. All right, so related to that, we've also got a height adjust built in, and I'm just going to type this one. So 56929 is the magic channel for WLV, and if I hit height, pipe 2.0, boom. So automatic height adjust, it's similar to using the shortcut down here, and in fact this number is the same. So again, you can use this if you have gestures where your height needs to be adjusted. Where I've used it a lot is pinfalls against a large opponent. Sometimes it's helpful to just pop up a little bit during the pinfall and then return to the ground normally. So I have my clear gesture is bound to reset my height. So if I hit that, back down to the ground we go. In addition to all that, this one I can't really provide an example for, but if you understand RLV, you can also execute any arbitrary RLV command through this system. And things that I've used this for are attach, detach commands. So you can look up the RLV instructions on the RLV webpage. All this stuff is built in. But for instance, yeah, so there's this chair. Yeah, there it is. Okay, perfect. So there's an RLV command to attach, and it just uses that RLV chair folder. So if I go ahead and play it, just cheat for a moment here and put on my old GeForce HUD, because this demonstration will look a lot better if the animations actually play. So what's going to happen here, it's going to play get weapon, which is the normal animation, wait 3 seconds, and then trigger the RLV command to attach a folder, and in that folder I've already set up the chair. Ta-da! And there we go. She's all ready to hit someone with the chair. Now, what I don't have set up at this time is the throw feature of other HUDs. Throw is less an RLV thing and more of a scripted thing in the object itself. So it's possible to add that, but I don't have that just yet. But you can do like instantaneous outfit changes as part of a gesture using RLV. All right, let's talk about the AO for a little bit. So animation override. The animation override for WLV can replace your walk and run animations only, because those are the main ones that a wrestler would need overridden. By default, of course, you've got the second life walk and the second life run, and both are a little goofy looking. So what you can do is you go into your WLV and you edit your settings card, and you just use walk anim and run anim to replace the built-in animations. Now, almost any animation will work, but you're going to want to make sure that it's priority 3 or lower. If it's not priority 3 or lower, then it will override your wrestling animations. Otherwise, your wrestling animations will always be able to override it. Now, this is not the same as running an external AO, because those are scripted, so they will play the animation after you begin moving, which tends to stomp on top of the wrestling animations. This tends to be a bit of a smoother experience. So if I just activate those lines, and I hit save, and I've already loaded them into my HUD. They, of course, have to be loaded in. Okay, so it's loaded. And now, Sela should walk a little more smoothly and run a little more smoothly. Okay. There, now you can see the rope chute working correctly too. So again, the trick with that one is priority 3 or lower. And the way to tell if you've got it right is, I call it the roll test. I've used this elsewhere. Because we tend to move with the roll. So if you walk and you do a roll, and the roll is not interrupted, then you know your priorities are okay. If your priority is too high, the roll won't complete. The animation of the walk or run will override it. Now, you might have noticed that there is a secondary set of animations. Basically, you can have an A set and a B set. So if you activate the B, in this case I've only configured the walk animation B, then with a gesture you can actually switch which animation is in use. So it's gone green again, so you can see my normal walk is on. But if I wanted Sela to be sneaky, I can go AO set B, and this is one of the gesture sets provided. And now, when I walk, she does a little sneaky walk. And then I can return to my original with AO set A. And again, that's just a single scripted line. So if you were to look in your inventory, you can open up the gesture and see it's just the 56929 set A, and the other one is set B. Okay, so you can also play animations, and these are the overlay animations that I was talking about. And the idea behind these is that you can trigger your regular animation through the Wrestle HUD, for instance, and then play this additional animation over top of it, which allows some flexibility in constructing an animation. So for instance, Sela might get thrown to the ropes, do a fast turn, F3 in the corner, and while she's sitting there, she decides she needs to do a promo. So if we pretend she's got a microphone in her hand, I can 56929 play pipe and then hold microphone, and she should, if I did this right, just move just her hand up, and she, well, her upper body is animation, but you can see that she's still slouched in the corner like she was. You can also stop the same animation, so 56929 stop, and this will only stop that one and not the others. Now you can stop any animation even if WLV didn't start it, so this also allows you some flexibility in overlaying or merging animations a little more smoothly than the standard Wrestle HUD's method of full clear and then play. It takes a little bit of imagination to make this useful, and you need animations that don't animate your entire body to make it work. But, if you have them, then it can be pretty useful. In addition to the standard animations, for instance, I have made some very basic height animations. So if I just copy the name of this one, and let's go ahead and put her into, I don't know, lockup just because it animates. Okay, she's locking up, she's locking up. She's being pushed back. Oh no, all the way against the ropes. And then I can go 56929 play. This is a really made up thing, but suddenly she's floating in the air almost at the height of the top rope, but still playing the animation. And it looks pretty awkward up there, I gotta tell you. But that's just an example. The other thing, of course, that I should note is any overlay, of course, can be cleared just by hitting your standard clear, because clear in the Wrestle HUD will clear everything regardless of who started it.
So here I just wanted to show a real-world example. So what we're going to see here is after the super kick, Sela is going to be pinned against the side of the cage, and this is using the top rope overlay animation while playing the electrocuted animation from her animations, which of course can't be edited. After that, the height animation is stopped, which will slowly fade out, while cell black is used to fall to the mat. In addition, RLV is used to change your outfit to turn off the lights.
Just a couple other quick notes I'm just going to mention because I've gone a long time on this one. You can also loop an animation if you have one that ends quickly. There's a stop all, which will stop all animations that WLV started. It will not stop your wrestle animations, but just all the overlays you've been doing. And although we haven't got there yet, if you're in Wrestle HUD mode, you can also do these overlays on your opponent, which helps you stack cells for them. Let's move on to the promo system. Promo HUD is a useful thing for a standard wrestler because you're often called on the ring to deliver lines, and quite often the lines are text. So you can simply just create a note card with the lines that you would like, and you can see an example here. One thing that you can notice, this very last line here has an emote in it, and so emotes work just fine. Now, what makes this useful is that it will shout it out automatically, so every line it says can be shouted, and I'll show you that in just a second. It also goes out through your name, so let's take a look at the settings real quick. So if we look at the settings card, you've got the name of the promo card, and I didn't need to put it in here, but you can also change your name, like if your display name doesn't match your wrestler's name. So if I go ahead and just hit promo, and you'll see what it does here is it tells you what line it's about to say. And you've got these arrows for going forwards and backwards, so I can skip that line if I don't want to say it. You can use say if you're just up in training and you're just making sure it works, or you can shout if you're ready for it to go out. You can see it came out with Sela's name. Let's say I didn't want her to be Sela. Let's say I wanted her to be, I don't know. So promo name equals Raccoon Destructor. Something like that. Destructor? I don't know why I'm being fussy. Destructor. Alright. So save. It's going to reload. Okay. And I've restarted, so this is not useful, but if I can go ahead and hit promo again, hit shout, it uses the new name. Again, like I said, you can skip over things. Like let's say I could say whatever out of the way, then I can go backwards and say now I want the ref line. And of course the emotes work. There's a couple of additional promo features. I'll touch on them real quick. You can stack multiple actions in one line. So you had to send a message to a script, so I'm just going to use 63 so we can see it. Although this 63 is also useful for communicating for comms, so let's say that. This is a line for comms, and I can say pipe. And we'll go ahead and we'll save that. And you can save your card even in the middle of a promo. You can make changes to the promo card. It remembers which line number you were on, so you'll be able to tell when you hit promo if it's in the right place or not. So I can see that it is going to do the first line, and if I shout that, you'll see it does two things. It sent the 63 out to comms, and it sent the line out as well. So that way you can do multiple steps in one click without having to click it multiple times. This is also useful if you have gestures that trigger your facial animations. You can also do that. So let's move on real quick to the comms monitor, which you've actually already seen. So built in, it can listen to the comms channels. So that's what comms and moves are for. It can listen to 63 for comms and 67 for moves. And if I hit it, you'll see it says moves on, comms off. If I hit it again, moves off, comms off. We'll turn them both on real quick. Okay. And now if I trigger a rope shoot, you'll see the 67 rope shoot. And if I'll just manually send a 63. Hello comms. And you'll see the hello comms. So there's also the speed override function, and you've sort of seen it in here already with the speed control. This lets you change your default movement speed. So if I'm walking at this normal speed, I could actually double that if I really needed to. Whoops, sorry, speed equals 1, walk speed equals 2.0. Wait for that to load. And I should move faster. Yep. Now you notice that the animation played as a run, even though I'm just walking. That's because Second Life plays the animation based on how fast you're moving, not on what you've asked it to do. There's also walk speed B here, and that's if you switch to your secondary AO set, it can automatically slow down your movement. So you see how the crouch is, or the creeping walk is now lined up a little better with the animation. There's the two other functions it has is a built-in jump limiter, so you don't have to go flying in the sky. And the moonwalk, if you hit forward and back at the same time, it'll automatically push you backwards. This is all pretty good, but the speed control has a pretty bad limit. It does not like walking on rough terrain, so if you're walking around outside the arena, you may have some difficulty with hills and bumps. It works, it just tends to slow down a bit. If you have any trouble with it whatsoever, consider it beta. Speed control 0 will turn it off. For now, I've got it on Sela, but Danner has it off because he's outdoors a lot. There's also a move command that I touched on this briefly earlier. WLV, RLV, move. So 56929 move. This is an actual movement, so it will physically move your character. And you enter a vector of forward direction, left direction, and then down direction. So positive numbers are that way. So for instance, if I want to move Sela forward 1 meter, large motions are not a good idea. I can go 1, 0, 0, and she's pushed forward fairly quickly. So this is for fine positioning inside of a gesture, and this actually moves you. It doesn't just animate you as being moved. So if I turn on the hitboxes, you'll be able to see that. And I'll just repeat that. You can see she actually moved as opposed to an animation which just looks like you moved. And then she can also move sideways. So if I make this one 1.0, oh, well, 2, whatever. Sideways move, and then up, down as well. So up, we could go up. Of course, gravity still works, so it's an actual move. So anyway, the question of value, I haven't been positively certain where this is useful yet. I have used it for some animations where I jump over the ropes. Okay, so one of the other features that WLV has now, of course, is the Wrestle HUD mode. And in normal mode, it does not act as a wrestling HUD. It just has the overlay features. But if you look in the settings note card, there's two options here that you can configure. For Wrestle HUD, 0 means no, 1 means yes. And number scripts. So let's talk about that. So we're going to turn it on. So in order for Wrestle HUDs to target your opponents, they need one script for every target that you have. So for instance, in a tag team, you need to target your partner, you need to target your opponent, and your opponent's partner. So at a minimum, that's 3. That means your HUD needs at least 3 scripts. Now, HUDs generally support 1 or 2 more than that. Some HUDs have add-ons that let you just add more people, but the point is those scripts are always there listening. So WLV can now reconfigure itself at startup with up to 10, which is what you see here. Generally, it's going to ship with 5, which is a middle ground, not 15, 5. And basically, when it resets, it's going to check that, compare to how many scripts are loaded, and delete any extra scripts if they are there, or add additional ones if they're not. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and turn on my nearby chat so you can watch it reset. And it's going to tell you what it's doing. So I'll hit save. Let me move that down so you can see the colors. Okay, so you can see it's looking at it. Okay, script from 10 to 5, removing extra scripts. And then I'm going to scroll back up a bit so you can see. Remove the extra scripts, succeeded, restarting, and you'll see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They start up out of order. There's nothing you can do for that. Eventually it's going to finish and it says ready to go. Wrestle mode supports 5 targets, and that's the important line right there. If you add additional ones, it will be a little bit slower. So Linden Labs forces a 2-second delay when you start a new script automatically. So it will take 2 seconds per each additional one, but it'll tell you what it's doing. Deleting old extra scripts, that's always really fast. But sitting right here, they're not doing anything. They're not listening. They're not tying up any script resources. The only script in this list running is the inventory and speed one. You'll notice that the color has gone to blue, and these extra buttons have appeared alongside it. So I'm not going to go into too much detail about how a Wrestle script or a Wrestle HUD works. You'll notice it's very similar to the G-force with the follow, drag, miss, and invert buttons. I'm going to go ahead and detach the G-force one now. Under this are buttons for which target you're currently selected, 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. Again, I'm not going to go into too much detail about how a Wrestle HUD works and just focus on the things that are unique about WLV. The next one is the channels are mostly compatible. So like it supports /7 target, it supports invert, drag, follow, and all that stuff. All animations play on channel 67, just like the standard. You can build those exactly the same way, and they'll react the same way as well. Let me go ahead and bring in an opponent. All right, and through the magic of editing and probably a jump cut because I panned my camera around, there's our opponent. So obviously the first thing you're going to do when you face an opponent is target them. You're usually going to /7 target, and you're going to specify who, so I'm going to say Danner. Now this is going to look a little bit different because this HUD is designed with a built-in auto search. So I'm going to hit that, and it's going to say, first thing it's going to ask me is, well, for which slot are you targeting? And it knows it's got 5 slots configured, so it's asking which one. Normally you'll say 70 opponent, and the 70 just indicates which direct channel you're going to talk to that person on. So you can just click the button for who you want. I want target 1, and now it's gone over and it's asked Danner for permission. Danner is going to click yes as per normal, and then he's going to show up at the top here, and then you're going to see the slot number 1, the channel number 70, 3-character name for who they are. So standards are opponent, tag, partner, ref, things like that. But that's just a standard. It doesn't lock you into anything. It can be anyone. And then their name. And if they're the current target, the name will be uppercase. If they're not, it will be lowercase. And you'll also see it selected down here. So like I could click a different target and you'll see how it goes lowercase, but there isn't anybody else actually here right now, so they're not targeted. When I go back to Danner, you'll see he's highlighted again. Now, if I were to go ahead and just reset this, we'll reset it the old-fashioned way. We'll change the settings. Any change to the settings card will reset it. So of course it's back, but I don't have my target anymore. So this gives you a way to directly target if you know everything about them. So I can go 70, the channel that it told me they were on, target Danner, and this will directly target Danner for the channel 70, which is slot 1. And it's gone out. It's asked him without asking me anything. He says yes, and there we go. It's up. Okay. Now what if I don't want to type anything? What if I don't like typing? Well, then we can take advantage of the built-in scan as well. Wait for it to reset. Okay. And I can just say 7 target. Okay, it's going to ask me, well, for which slot? Because I didn't tell it which slot, so I'm going to say slot 1. Then it's going to say who, and it's just going to do like a 10-meter scan, so you have to be pretty close. And it's like, I found Danner. And I'm like, yep, that's who I want. And now it's gone out and it's asked him for permission. He's going to say yes. And ta-da, there we go. Didn't have to type their names or anything. Auto search. And that works for every slot. So tags, refs, everything. The other thing these channels are useful for is if you are building an animation that is designed for instance in a tag team and you need to target specific people in the group, you can specify their channels directly instead of 67, and then it knows where to direct the animation. So for instance, you can have an animation that animates the ref even if you didn't target the ref, or tag team moves where you're going to want to animate yourself and your partner and one of your opponents, maybe both of your opponents. And that's all doable by directly using the channels. And you'll find that in the wrestler instruction card. There's a few extra commands too. You can change your target with a command. So this can be put into a gesture. So I can say target, change, and you say which slot you want. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll say change 4. And you'll see 4 lit up. Change 1. 7, change 1. But you can also do it directly because the gestures that are provided, I believe they are just change 1. Yeah, change 2. So yeah, if you use the gestures, then you don't need to remember the 7. But otherwise you do. And again, you can put those into your own gestures as whatever is appropriate. For instance, you might have a sequence of moves where you need to do a couple of attacks, quickly change targets, do some attacks, quickly change. You could make one big gesture if you really wanted to. Of course, the follow and drag work as you would expect. So if I hit follow, it's going to make me follow Danner. If I hit drag, it's going to drag him. You can also, of course, the standard moves work. So, like a drop kick, just like you would expect, that works normal. Assist, up. These are all the standard gestures. Miss works more or less like you'd expect. If you click it just once, then it will light up halfway, and that indicates a single miss. So it's halfway now. If I do one drop kick, it will automatically clear. So the next one will land. If I don't want that, if I need it to be permanent, you just hit it twice. So half, full. And now, however many times I drop kick, it's going to stay on until I turn it off. Invert is exactly the same. So I can hit invert and it goes half brightness, and it'll invert just once and then turn off. Okay. Or if I don't want that, I can hit it twice, once, twice, and now it will stay on. Until I turn it off. Okay, so those functions are handy. All of this can also be controlled through gestures, so I can simply say /7 invert, and that will toggle invert once, and you can do it twice if you have to. Then I can say EX dropkick. It works exactly the same as if I click the buttons. So invert, assist up. Oh, I did something wrong there. Oh, forgot the 7, I'm sorry. Not a very good example, is it? There we go. All right. And that's also true for drag, follow, miss, and then there's off versions of those as well. You can look in the note card for that. So let's talk a bit about loading animations into your Wrestle HUD. For me, this has been a big pain in the butt. So I did some work to make it a little bit easier. So again, if I open this HUD, you notice you don't see all the animations here. So there's 1,000 animations loaded here. Where are they? Well, they're actually in the second prim. And so if I go edit linked and I switch to link 2, then here are all the animations. Now, if you've done this for any length of time, you know that loading these things takes a long time. It can take minutes, and it's only fast right now because I've loaded them earlier. So generally, when you want to add new animations, it can be quite a pain waiting for this to open. There's a second pain too. And that's no transfer animations. No modify, I think, but definitely no transfer. You can't just drag them to the HUD. So let's talk about loading animations. So we've got Irish Whip X, just a basic standard one, and Psych Up Taunt, which is no transfer. So you can take off your HUD and res it to the ground and drag everything into it, and then put it back on, and then retarget your opponent, and then see if it works. You can do that. But of course, if it's a full perm animation, that's really easy. You just drag it into the HUD and you're ready to go. So there's a little bit of extra work going on here, and I want to show you that. So if I take Irish Whip and I just drag it to the HUD, then you're going to see it has detected the update, one item, and it says moving. So what it's done here is it's taken that animation and moved it to the second prim automatically. Then it says cleanup, inventory complete. And if I open it again, you'll see that it's not here. It has been moved into the secondary prim. Now there's a second point that's worth noting of that. One problem that we all have with our Wrestle HUDs is they get full of duplicates because we forget which animations are in there and we copy another copy, and suddenly we have Irish Whip X1, Irish Whip X2, Irish Whip X3. It's like, that's a pain to clean. Using this system, that never happens because the old one will get overwritten instead. You'll only ever have one Irish Whip X. That's good because you won't have 100 duplicates in there. It's potentially bad because you will overwrite whatever used to be there. So make sure you keep copies of everything just in case you have two with the same name. So you can see this is how long it normally takes to load. I was going to show you the Irish Whip X was in here just once, but I don't know if I have the patience to wait that long. So that's lovely. We can just drop things into the root and they get moved properly and all that magically happens. What about Psych Up Taunt, which is no transfer? If I try to drag it in here, I get the no, you're not allowed to do that. I can't drag it up here either. So what do? Well, first we go back to this button. For this, I've created the animation funnel. And what this is just a little funnel that you res on the ground instead of the HUD. It will communicate with the HUD, send the animation up to it, and run through the sequence automatically from there. All right, so there's the funnel. So now I can drag Psych Up Taunt into the funnel. And if I open the funnels inventory, you'll see there's the script and the animation. You can put as many in there as you want. Once the funnel's ready to go, I come up to the HUD, click it to pop up the menu, and I just hit funnel. That will reach out to the funnel. Beginning transfer, one animation to send, sending Psych Up Taunt, cleanup, done. You can remove the funnel. Then the HUD discovers it, moves it into the right prim, and it's finished. And now I have Psych Up Taunt. So if I 67, gotta spell it right, of course. Up Taunt. There we go. I don't know, I'm sure you can see Sela move in there. Yeah. And that's all there is to it. And like I say, if you have 20, 30 animations to load, you can drop them all into the funnel. Just click transfer once and it will fire them up. So that's very handy. Now, what if you're moving from an old HUD to a new HUD? I was going to show this, but I didn't get it set up. There is actually a separate funnel script that I also include. This funnel script has the same transfer capabilities as the funnel does. It's actually the same script the funnel runs. You can drop this into your old HUD, put your old HUD in the ground, drop the funnel script into it, and then just click funnel and it will copy everything out of there, just the same as if you dropped it into the funnel. I've tested this with a HUD that had 1,000 animations in it, and it works. It's pretty quick. It didn't take 5-6 minutes, I think. That's it. Then you're ready to roll. So for me, this is one of the big features because being able to do this without taking off the HUD and retargeting everything and resing the HUD to the ground. The funnel is quick and easy to res. You don't have to wait for the inventory. I don't know. The biggest features, again, just to recap, WLV provides, RLV turns. It also provides overlay animations so that you can merge animations with other animations. It provides RLV movement, like physical motion, into your animations. Dynamic number of listens. You can have anywhere from 1 to 10 opponents with a simple change of the settings card. Of course, all the other functions designed to eliminate extra scripts needing to run, like the promo HUD, is being built in. And the speed HUD, although I'm still not certain how useful the speed HUD will be. Definitely take a look at the documentation. It's worth it just to see how the channels work. And anytime that you need a reference, of course, it's right there. This has now been tested several matches with Sela one-on-one, a tag match with Sela and Danner. And Danner also participated in a Royal Rumble where he had all 10 slots targeted. So I do believe that it is ready for practical use. And that's about it. So thanks for tuning in. If you have any questions, let me know. I know this was a really fast, really high level overview, but hopefully it was interesting. Take care.